Welcome to another CK podcast here on the Basketball Zone Cowbell Kingdom YouTube channel. I'm with my boy Nick Russo from the NBA Never Stops and the Swish Factor on Instagram. How you doing, brother? Long time, no talk, no see, man.
Been a long time. Doing pretty well. What about yourself?
I am great because the Kings are in contention for a playoff spot, but that also means that the Lakers are too. Who would have thought that the Kings in March, if someone had told me he'd be 500 with 20 games remaining with the fourth easiest schedule, I would have taken that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's gonna be a close race.
So we were talking offline about how that one injury really derailed the season for the Lakers. They were the fourth seed, I believe, before LeBron got injured.
They were as close as one game behind first at a point, I believe.
Wow.
Unreal.
What do you think has been the biggest reason why they have just fallen out of? I mean, this team is losing to the Suns for Pete's sake.
Well, we've lost to the Suns, Pelicans, Knicks, Cavs. I don't believe the Bulls, but we've lost almost, the bottom feeders at least once, with the exception of the Bulls. So it's just been a pretty pathetic season. But I don't think you can pinpoint one specific reason. I think it's a multitude of reasons. For one, the LeBron injury, of course. So I would say if you have to pick one, that would be the one. But because he missed 18 games and they were okay, but obviously, they lost that spark. So that was probably, I believe, the first reason. The second reason was, I don't know if I'm going in importance, so I'll just say the Lonzo injury, because he's the defensive anchor for sure, and they have been abysmal defensively since. And I mean, it's like really hard to watch. Like they were giving up, they gave up like 100 points before even the fourth quarter. I think to the Pelicans, might have even been the Suns the other night too. It's just really bad. And of course, the third reason is the Anthony Davis stuff.
Fiasco.
I mean, to say the least, just all that commotion, and the locker room just got in a frenzy, and like everyone thought they were going to be traded. I read a report that everyone felt little at unease besides for LeBron and Rondo. So yeah, that just with those three combined just derailed the season completely.
Before I get into that, and I have a lot of thoughts on that, this episode of the podcast is presented by the Detailing Pros Sacramento. Right now, we just posted on our Instagram page that they are doing a giveaway, a $150 free mobile detail. So all you got to do is follow directions, follow them, and tag 2 people on Instagram, and you guys will get a free mobile detail experience on them. One lucky winner. The giveaway ends March 11th at 4 p.m. So if you guys are interested in having your car washed, your carpet washed, all that good stuff, make sure to hit up Nick, who is the owner of the Detailing Pros Sacramento. So going back to Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka, Nick, do you think they are at fault for the acquisitions in the offseason, which kind of set the tone for the season in some sense?
Absolutely, 100%. From the beginning, I think everyone was kind of shaky about the roster fit after they signed LeBron. They started off with Lance, and then JaVale, and then Rondo, and then Beasley later on. So it was just, they hit the ball out of the park with LeBron, and then, history has proven that LeBron plays best with shooters. And I understand the mindset of, well, let's put playmakers with LeBron, because in the finals last season, it was just, like he with no other ball handler, because George Hill was not that guy. They struggled. So I understand the mindset, but none of them can shoot.
Right.
Rondo's been okay at shooting this year, a little better than his norm, but it's still Rondo.
Still below average.
Right. And I absolutely think they're to fault. Like, and besides for that, like they have no big men on the roster. They came into the season with JaVale. They did not have Tyson then. It was JaVale, Zubats, and Mo Wagner, rookie. And Zubats had no momentum coming into the season, and JaVale was a bench player with asthma. So
Right.
that was, who would have saw that coming? Like everyone saw that coming. And then they signed Tyson, who's old. Then they trade Zubats for Mike Muscala, which painful. So I mean,
Painful. Zubats a
just
baller.
really, I can't even try to justify that trade. It just makes no sense. Everything that they've done, all in all, since LeBron is like a head scratcher, and it's upsetting.
Right, right. I want to try something new for the people that are watching this live or maybe watching later for Nick's platforms as well. Make sure to screenshot it if you're on your phone or if you're watching on a PC. Take a picture of it, send it to us on our DM. At least if you guys send it to us on our DMs at Basketball Zone or at Cowbell, we will give you guys a shout out on our stories. Something new that I was thinking about. So if you are watching the show, make sure to screenshot it, take a picture, send it to us in DMs, and we will give you guys a shout out on the stories. Nick, that trade rumor, I think, really derailed the entire mindset of that locker room. It was already weak to begin with. And then when you're giving up the entire team, essentially, even Rondo to some extent, because he was in a lot of those rumors as well.
He was.
Magic Johnson, I believe, and Rob Pelinka poisoned the mindset of these young players. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'd agree. So it became painfully obvious after that. I mean, Josh Hart hasn't made a three. He made his first three-pointer. He made his first three-pointer against the Bucks, which was a couple days ago. His first three-pointer in over a month. So that can be faulted to some injury, but he's struggled. But Ingram and Kuzma have played exceptionally well since the rumors. So kudos to them. But it's really, honestly, it's not really the young players to fault. It's the vets, and not really LeBron, obviously, but Lance is Lance.
Lance will make you dance, but this not in the right way.
I read a report from someone within the Los Angeles thinking, right behind their mindset, and they said that part of the reason they traded Zubats was to alleviate JaVale, so he can be motivated to play better, which that thinking, number one, you trade a 21-year-old center for the benefit of JaVale McGee. I mean, that's pretty flawed in itself. And then JaVale has not played better at all. And it's like KCP has played pretty not stellar.
Right. It's the veterans on this team. I feel like Brandon Ingram has been on a tear as of late, the past 10 games. Kuzma has been solid all year long. Josh Hart, before the rumors, was really solid. So when people want to blame the young nucleids, they have to look at the veterans and say, we brought you in to bring mental toughness, defense, and you have yet to bring any of that. Their best defender is Lonzo Ball, and he's not playing right now. My big issue is, why did this front office believe that these washed up veterans could do what they thought they could do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's unexplainable. Literally, if you look at every angle of the Zubats trade in particular, you can't justify it. They traded Beasley and Zubats for Muscala. All right, so Muscala can shoot. He fills the void of a big man that can space the floor, which is what they need. But they have Mo Wagner, who, is how much better is Muscala than Mo Wagner, really? And Zubats is 21. He was having a really good season. They did the trade to better McGee's mindset and to get rid of Michael Beasley when they literally could have just waived Michael Beasley. So
Exactly. And right now the Lakers are 13th in points per game,
uh,
7th in rebounds per game, 11th in assists per game, and 24th in points allowed. So the defense is not very good. Just like the Kings defense is not very good. I think the Kings are 26th or 27th. And that's one of the big things that I've been talking about since November that needs to get better.
yeah,
And it has gotten better ever since the arrival of Harrison Barnes, which is
I
a good
saw that.
thing. The Kings are, I believe, first in defensive rating ever since he's gotten there, but
Mhm.
they've also had a rough patch of games where they've lost a combined of 5 points to the Nuggets, the Warriors, and the Bucks. So the three best teams in the NBA, a total of 5 points, and he's been a big part of that. Just watching them live and watching them slide his feet and just predict or anticipate their best player's next move
Mhm.
has just been so impressive to me. You
Right.
can never stop a KD, right? You can only hope to contain him, and he has played him so well. I haven't seen not many play Durant the way Harrison did, and that left me in awe. Obviously, he struggled before last game on offense, but his shot looks good. And I feel like once his offense is clicking, and a lot of it too is he hasn't had time to practice with the team. People don't understand that it takes time to adjust to a new role in the NBA. It's just not going to happen overnight.
Mhm.
And for a lot of these players, like the Reggie Bullocks of the world, see, those guys are just slot-in guys. They're not really part of the future, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
Harrison is. So they have to ease him in. And a lot of the fans don't understand that. Without Harrison Barnes, I believe the Kings would have gotten destroyed by all three of those teams. Now that Dave Yeager has a legitimate small forward, power forward who can guard multiple positions, it's just been such a nice thing to see, man.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I was also going to ask you, do you think if the Lakers don't make the playoffs, it will tarnish LeBron's legacy, or it will like scratch or leave a little, slash in there?
Right. I'd say so. A little bit, it's definitely it's see, it's hard to answer because he had that 18 game injury. So he was out for 18 games. So and they do have a winning record with him, but he's still to blame. You can't like not blame LeBron at all. You
Right.
know, because if the Lakers were to make the playoffs, the narrative would be, oh, the Lakers are in the playoffs because of LeBron. So he's definitely to blame to an extent. And I think it's a little bit of a scratch on his legacy for sure.
Okay. I agree because you cannot go 8 or 9 straight years of making the NBA finals to then
Yeah.
making the big move to Los Angeles and not making the playoffs. To me, that's something that we're all going to talk about when it comes to the GOAT discussions, as we love to do, comparing him to MJ. They will always bring up, well, in his first year with the Lakers, he
Yeah.
managed to not make the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Of course, that's gonna come up for a lot of in a lot of conversations.
Right. Now, to answer the big question, who do you think has the most promising future, the Kings or the Lakers?
Hmm. Well, let's think about it. So with the Kings, we have Fox, of course,
Yep.
Bogdanovich, Buddy Hield, Harry Giles,
Bagley.
Bagley, of course. Um, okay, so that's five really good young pieces going forward. The Lakers have Lonzo, Ingram, Kuzma, Hart, and I'm not going to include Mo Wagner in that. But if they miss the playoffs, they have this lottery pick coming up. So that's kind of a,
In a very weak draft.
right, in the event that they don't trade it.
Right.
I guess you gotta for now. You gotta say the answer is the Kings because they're going to make the playoffs and the Lakers aren't. Because my answer would be different. Like if you look at pure stats, you would say the Lakers, but I mean the Kings are getting the results. The Lakers didn't, pull their weight when LeBron was out. So you got to go with the Kings. They are a little older, though. I know Buddy is isn't Buddy 26?
Yeah, he's 26. Bogdanovich is 26. Harrison Barnes is 26.
Right.
So
So
they're
they're
young and experienced,
inexperienced.
but
Older.
almost at their prime in
Right.
age.
Right.
Although Bagley and Fox
Are young.
are super young still.
Right. So I'll go out and say the Kings have the better immediate future,
Right.
but assuming the Lakers don't trade Lonzo Ingram, I think those are the best two pieces the Lakers have, more so than Kuzma and Hart. I think those two have potential to be like really, really, really good, like probably all-stars. Well, I think Fox will be an all-star, but I'm not too sure about Bagley yet.
Okay. Now, were you okay with giving up all those players for AD? Because I wasn't.
See, I was, but not sure I am anymore because of Ingram's play. Because Lonzo flatlined, I don't really think his value went up or down from last season.
Right.
And he's been injury prone. Ingram at the time probably flatlined as well, didn't go up or down. Kuzma went up a little bit, and Hart went down a little bit, not much. So to get someone like AD and pair him with LeBron, I was pretty down for it. Even though I think the Pelicans wanted like 2 first-round picks, so that, or maybe even more, it might have been 3. So that would have been probably the only part where I was kind of hesitant to part with. But I would say I would have done it at the time. But since then, Ingram has definitely skyrocketed, obviously. Kuzma's gone up. Lonzo's still the same, and Hart's still down. So I think, but Ingram really especially has played like insanely well. So with that in mind, I think going into trade talks in the summer with Ingram playing this well, maybe they could take Kuzma or someone out of the deal because they can say now to the Pelicans, hey, you waited. We told you we weren't going to have this deal. And now you took the risk. And Ingram, I would say, is on par with Tatum in terms of value. Like, he's been like unbelievable lately. So I don't know. I probably wouldn't do that anymore.
I agree. Every time a team waits, historically speaking, they don't get the same amount of value, and they're not going to get the value because we all know Kyrie Irving is not staying in Boston. He's heading to New York where he belongs. And now it's very obvious the Celtics will not give up Tatum for AD because they know that AD won't re-sign if there's no Kyrie or Tatum there. So they just messed up, and I would have taken that in a heartbeat. I mean, they were giving up Ingram, Lonzo, Kuzma, Hart.
We could have done it, 100%.
Zubats. It was just, wait, what? How do you not take that deal? How on earth Dell Demps, who went to UOP, how do you not take that deal? It just didn't make any sense. Then he got fired, which deservedly so, deserved to get fired after the whole fiasco with DeMarcus Cousins and not keeping him and giving up Buddy Hield in that trade. You talk about a second chance, a miracle type trade when you know your guy is leaving you and you have all these assets who then, if you don't like, you can flip. If you don't think Lonzo is adequate enough to play with Drew Holiday, you can flip Lonzo to Phoenix and get some more value. I just did not understand it. I will never understand it. And because of that, that organization will not be very good in the near future, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they were trying to spite the Lakers in a way, for AD wanting to leave their team in favor of them. So I think that was a big part of his reasoning why he didn't do the deal with the Lakers. Because, I mean, objectively speaking, I don't know how they're going to get a better deal than that. Like, a lot of people were arguing the Celtics with Tatum, but I mean, I don't know. I really don't think those 4 guys that the Lakers were offering, I would say they far outweigh Tatum, in my opinion. Because
I've said that for a long time.
Yeah, I think Tatum's going to be really, really good. Like, going into the season, I remember having arguments with like friends and stuff saying that yeah, Tatum's pretty legit. Like he can easily be like a top 15 player one day. Who knows? Maybe top 10. But I mean, Ingram at this point has been. He looks. I'm really excited about Brandon Ingram.
And I've been on the Ingram bandwagon for 2 years now, just hoping that he would play to the level of his talent, and he has been the last 10 games, which has made me happy. But Nick, the results aren't there.
Yeah.
Do you think his defense been up par to what his offense has been?
Yeah, his defense. You know, there was that play that Avery Bradley crossed him up. I don't know if you saw that, but you know you can easily make the counter argument that that shows he's trying on defense, unlike LeBron and the other Lakers who are not. So yeah, Ingram has been pretty good on defense. Kuzma's always been like but Hart is solid on defense. Lonzo is the best defender. So yeah.
So guess what? If you want to go watch a Laker game or a Kings game, all you got to do is use our code COWBELL on SeatGeek.com and get $20 off your purchase. It's a pretty good deal if you ask me, or if you just want to go to a Staples Center event and it's a concert and Kanye's in town or whoever the hell's in town, use the code COWBELL and get $20 off. Nick, your Los Angeles Lakers will compete against the Knicks and your crosstown rivals, the LA Clippers, this offseason. I know this show is more about Kings Lakers, but do you feel like the Clippers are or have a better future right now?
Well, they have a better front office. So,
no doubt.
I don't mind that I think the Lakers have the better young core very easily. But I mean, the Clippers for their like rebuilding, they're going to make the playoffs in a rebuilding stage. So I mean, you can't really knock them because
they got picks, they have cap space.
They do. Yeah, they do have the cap space. The Lakers have the cap space. I don't know. It's you can say, oh, I'm biased. So I think removing the Lakers front office, I would say the Lakers, but the Clippers front office is just so far and away, more intelligent, and they've been making better overall moves. Like the Tobias trade, everyone was kind of surprised by, but like now they have 2 max spots, and like everything they got from that. So yeah, they got that shooting guard, the rookie Shamet, or Shamet, how do you pronounce his name?
Oh, Shamet. They ended up getting Landry Shamet in that, or Shamet in that trade. He played at Wichita State. I remember watching him play, and they have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who was a stellar rookie. Very surprised by how he's playing. So yeah, you're right. And then Kawhi Leonard just bought a house nearby the area, and there's a lot of rumors that he may be the guy. Do you see? I think he'd be a great fit with the Clippers.
Yeah, so I think the Clippers' young players. I mean, I don't know what the tapped, but cap potential is for Alexander and Shamet. How do you say his
Shamet?
Shamet, yeah. So I think those guys have good potential, but I'm not sure if they have the ceiling of like an Ingram. So I think they fit perfectly with someone like Kawhi, because I think they'll be really, really good players that know the role. Like, I think Kawhi is like a seamless fit, and I would say he's going to go to the Clippers. Even though I would not be surprised in the slightest if he stayed in Toronto.
Right. And to me, it's going to depend on if they make it to the NBA Finals. And as we know, the East got better this year, at least the top heavy teams in the East, because the bottom, 6, 7, 8 are still pretty trash. And this league should be 1 through 16, because there are going to be teams like the Lakers or the Kings that may finish above 500 and will not make the playoffs, when you have teams that are below 500 in the East making the playoffs. So I think that needs to change ASAP. Because and it's funny because the NBA uses scheduling and travel as an excuse for that, but I'm like, bro, you guys fly A1, like it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's just frustrating.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on that because like when you look at the reasons, it's very obvious that the 1 to 16 is the more logical option. But I'm a traditionalist in the sense that I like East versus West, just kind of what I've like become accustomed to. Like it would. I just feel like it would be weird if it was like a Warriors Rockets NBA Finals. Like it'd be an exciting series, but it just kind of sounds weird. You know what I mean? Like I'm used to Lakers Celtics, Warriors
Sounds
Celtics.
progressive and like the right thing to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah. I basically have nothing. I have no argument.
Right.
It's like it's what I'm used to, and I like.
No, and that's funny because that's how all the older white dudes in that like inner circles of the NBA that
Yeah.
are in charge, that's the way they think, and it's great
Oh
that you
yeah.
brought that point up because that's exactly how they think. But it's like, whoa, you have all these teams busting their chops to make the playoffs and have above 500 records in the
Yeah.
West, and it's been like this for a long time now. How do you reward losing? You know what I mean? To me, it's always like, how do you reward losing just because of a schedule or a travel conflict? But regardless, who do you think has a better, or do you think the Raptors have a solid chance of making the finals, or is it the Bucks? Is it the Sixers? I don't think it's the Celtics. I think they're a disaster of a team. But out of those three teams, who do you see coming out?
Well, I wouldn't count out the Celtics.
Oh, what?
I think it's different in the playoffs. It's more of like a slowed down, like one-on-one sort of game. Like it really becomes like about who has the best player. And I think Kyrie's, with anyone. So
Yeah, but he's not on the Greek Freaks level, and he's not on Kawhi's level.
right, but yeah, but I wouldn't count out the Celtics, and they're just so deep. But I don't think they're gonna make it out of the East. I for now I think I'm leaning towards the Sixers.
Okay,
Um, just because I mean their starting lineup is absurd at the moment.
right.
They have no weaknesses, and besides for Redick, they are ginormous. So, like, they have shooting from 2 to 5,
Right.
not Simmons, but like, yeah, I don't know. If I had to pick them, because I think the Bucks, they remind me a lot in a lot of the ways of like the Budenholzer Hawks,
Mhm.
besides for Giannis. So they have the best player compared to the Hawks team, but yeah, they just remind me of like a bunch of role players, really good players, but I don't think they can compare to the Sixers in the playoffs in a playoff series, best of 7. And the Raptors is a very close call between them and the Sixers, but I think it will be the Sixers.
Okay, and I'm not mad at you because from day to day, I can be like, man, Sixers look really good. Then
Yeah,
I'll be like, damn, the Bucks are just so deep, and I just
right.
had the privilege to watch them in person. And that Giannis played like 20 minutes that game, and obviously they beat the Kings by 1, but that team is just so deep, and they're so well coached, and they have such good role players.
Mhm,
They just added Pau Gasol to the mix.
mhm.
The Raptors are the same. The Raptors have 3 dudes they can throw at Giannis and OG, Siakam, and Kawhi. So their depth on the wings is just incredible as well. And like I said, right now I would lean towards the Bucks, but tomorrow I may lean towards the Raptors. It's just really tough. But what that means is we're gonna have a really good series, Nick, and I'm anticipating either Raptors, Sixers, or whatever combination. That's going 7, right?
Yeah, I've been saying for a while now, I can't wait for the playoffs this year. Would have been a little bit better, but it's going to be super exciting with the East for sure.
Yes, the East, that top heavy East will be fun. And if we do get a Warriors Kings in the first round, that's going to be fun because the Kings have taken the Warriors. Although they've lost 4 times to them, KD has admitted that they should have
Hopefully,
lost all 4 times to the Kings. And Draymond has said that's the fastest team he's ever played against. And the Warriors are not used to an 8 seed giving them a run for their money and just making them work. And if we do get that matchup, Kings Warriors in that first round,
They'll
you
be
better
hungry.
believe the Warriors are going to sweat, and the Kings will make them work for it. Just on pace alone, they're
Yeah.
just so fast, and De'Aaron Fox is that Lamborghini that just never stops. It's going to be tough for the Warriors. Obviously, they're going to win the series, but it's not going to be a sweep. That's the fun part this year. That if the Kings do make it into that 8th spot or that 7th spot, because we don't know if the Nuggets will win that first seed. I mean, they're only what, half a game out.
Yeah, it's close.
So, and then one last thing, how impressed have you been with the Nuggets this season?
Yeah, I mean that's an insanely deep team. I was watching them the other day on the nationally televised game against the
Thunder?
no, I just had it. The Jazz. The Jazz.
Jazz, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that team is like I think they're what 11 deep or something. So yeah, big props to them. They've been insanely good. Jokic might go as far as to say the best passing big man of all time. On pace to do it. I don't know
He's
who else
incredible.
is averaging 8 assists as a center. So yeah.
And you said it, that team is deep, and Mike Malone will have a lot of issues in deciding what players he's in the playoffs. You should only play 8, 9 guys, and this dude has like 12 dudes. So right there, and the rookie's not even playing this year.
Oh, Porter. Yeah.
Porter. So it's gonna be fun, man. And I appreciate you as always. I'm thinking that, man, that we should probably do a podcast together in the near future. Obviously, if you're down for it. Any final words? Any Instagram tips for the public that will watch this after or are watching right now?
If you haven't already, you should give my 2 Instagrams a follow at the NBA Never Stops. If you're looking for more of a serious but not always so serious type of content for the NBA, and the Swish Factor at the Swish Factor, kind of gearing towards more of a satirical type of theme. So yeah, just check us out. We'd really appreciate it. And any tips? I told you before we came on here, if you're looking to grow, it seems that going private is sort of the way to go right now. So, yeah, try that out and get some really good stuff out because then it'll be sent around and people seem to be really curious to be following these accounts once you're private.
There it is, guys. Go private. It's one of the new things that's working on Instagram. I appreciate your time, Nick. And for all the
Or,
people that watch this or listen to this later on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, send us a screenshot that you are listening to the show, and we will give you guys love on our Instagram stories, showing that you guys care and that you guys do indeed tune in. Again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the next one.